said he gonna call you till you couldn't make it.
Yeah, how's he doing? How's he doing?
How you doing, good?
I just listened to a voicemail from him. He's in the hospital doing some sort of surgery. He'll be out for a couple months.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got a surgery, small surgeries.
God bless him. That's a rough call.
Does anybody know what
They already all know.
They mentioned something,
Small tumor.
but I didn't recognize it.
Mm.
It's not the normal CT scan or anything else. It's something else.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, I just thought he was
But wasn't it 18 months ago when he got it out? They came back.
Didn't that happen with your husband's foot?
But there was the plastic on there, you know? So the only way to get it off now would be to soak it in acetone. And I cannot, it was bleeding like stuff, so I cannot imagine putting it in acetone on that to let the stuff dissolve. So I'm just leaving it. I'm too grossed out.
If you soak it in soapy water, hot soapy water,
But it's, yeah, but it's,
it'll come off.
but it's the dip, so it's like plastic. You know what I mean? So the only way to get it off is acetone.
Oh, no.
So I have to leave it
Okay.
soaked. It's like, it's so gross.
Yeah.
It's so gross. I don't even. I'm regretting all my choices. I should never have taken the garbage out. I should have just let the truck go by. I should not have gone outside. I should not have opened the gate.
I remember when I was hammering something in my garage and I just blasted my thumb. First, after my eyes water and I screamed 400 swear words, then I finally looked at it.
I like literally talking like this. I could feel my heartbeat. I was like, oh, that's gross.
Mario should be here any second.
This one's been slammed in the car door. How's the pipes bursting with this cold weather? The middle of
Maybe.
July.
Well, we had a lot of, we didn't have a lot of water main leaks. We were having houses because no one would leave the water run and their pipes were bursting that way.
Oh, good. That's right, because you talked about it last week.
Yeah, you gotta leave that sink run a little.
Yeah.
And without that, once it freezes, it's out of our hands. There's nothing we can do.
Well, it expands when it starts thawing, and that's when the pipe bursts.
Yeah, we tell everyone, leave a couple sinks open. So if it starts, when it starts defrosting, it'll slowly come out. A lot of people don't listen. They would leave them closed, and then when the copper in your house, started melting, you get a big slit, and then water just starts gushing.
Yeah.
And a lot of residents don't know that they have a hand valve to shut their or some don't even have one that works to shut the water off inside. Then they got to call us. By the time it's in the weekend, by the time they get a hold of our pumping station, they call. He calls the guy. Now the guy got it. If he's not around, they got to call another person. And if he's close, he has to get ready to go get the truck, go get the shut off. Hope you can find the shut off.
Yeah.
And by now, you got water just gushing down the walls.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it never breaks in the house. It breaks in the wall or
Yeah.
somewhere where it's going to be.
And it never happens on a 2 o'clock on a weekday. It's always 11 o'clock on Saturday night. And a lot of with a little bit of snow, and then people do different landscaping. Sometimes the buffalo box gets put under dirt or sod or whatever stuff that people do around their house to make it look nice. But then now when you need a problem,
We're waiting for Mario?
Yeah.
he said he was 4 minutes out 5 minutes ago, so he should probably park and he's walking. Oh my goodness.
We never do Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
We think like the Saturday.
I was out a couple days. I ran to a couple houses from here because to shut the valve off because the guys were busy.
Our 20th anniversary.
I mean, we've had our weather, but we're fortunate. It's not like the East Coast. They really got inundated.
What was the green zone?
Yeah, coming into the,
When's your 20? In the summer, right?
July 1st.
And I'm concerned
Yes,
about
there's 36.
power outages.
Well,
and some of them, I would think some of them.
we're probably going next summer.
You don't have power, you don't have
Summer,
anything.
next summer.
Doesn't matter how much you have.
Put the insulation in like they do up here.
We'll probably stop in the Czech Republic to visit her aunts and stuff, but then after that, just,
Nice and warm.
Backpack.
Why kept them on?
she wants to go to, she wants to like to go to England.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Go see where,
Geez, I have no desire to go to Paris. I go, you know why? I wanna go see Normandy, you know? That's what I said. Yeah,
My phone's in the back charging,
England,
starting around the 20s.
yeah, England's on my bucket list. I don't want to drive on the wrong side of the car.
Oh, I don't wanna drive at all. I have no problem driving here. How are you?
Morning, how are you?
All right, guys. All right, everybody, good morning. Sorry about the short delay. Today's February 3rd, 2026. First floor courtroom, Cicero Town Hall, for our meeting for the stormwater management, which we meet every first Tuesday now at 10 a.m. We have a call to order. Commissioner Tom,
Here,
Commissioner Mario,
here.
Commissioner Larry,
Here.
Commissioner Steve. Here. Commissioner Lito here. Real fast, we can all keep Frank in our prayers and wish him a speedy recovery, okay? Thank you very much. Approval of minutes, is there a motion?
Aye.
Larry, second by Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay. The public comments, is there any public comments? No? Delia? Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you? Hello to all the board. My name is Delia Barajas. I've been a community member for the past 30 years living here. Basically, I just have a few questions and just a short comment. In regards to we already know that our stormwater systems are overwhelmed, especially in municipalities like Cicero, especially with the combined sewer lines. We're dealing with toxic runoff like what happened at 2023. Flooding with raw sewage, lead, heavy metals, and bacteria. Our families and sisters are at risk with so much bacteria. Frequent flooding only does, well, it does harm to life and degrades our environment and the quality of our rivers. BOSIS received a grant from Openlands to plant trees here and in our community, and desperately needs to reduce stormwater pollution and increase the tree canopy. I know there was another flood in January 2026. I'm just wondering if you all are going to be using some of the CDBG money funding to help the families that flooded. And also, we invite the Stormwater Advisory Board to work with BOSIS to keep our community safe and towards a resilience. And the last thing I wanted to ask is, I learned recently that the City of Chicago put away some money in regards to 2026 budget for the Department of Water Management. I understand they put money aside to design engineering services for the West Side Trunk Sewer to the MWRDG Tunnel Reservoir Plan to provide additional sewer relief to the west side of Chicago. Congratulations to the Chicago folks. I know they flooded just like us. So the question I have today is just asking folks in the advisory board is how will this impact Cicero, the sewer systems, because we know we have combined lines, sewer lines as well, and we keep flooding. So will we flood more, which I'm assuming so, because these lines are to alleviate some of the stormwater from the west side of Chicago. So how is this going to impact
Just
the community of Cicero?
a brief communication with our engineer, because this has just kind of all come out to everybody. the impact is gonna be positive to Cicero because it's gonna be taking away a lot of the storm water that and the combined sewer system like Austin area has, that's already filling up our system, and it's really gonna leave a little bit more room now for our water to get in, if it goes through and if it's, you know, and if it ends up happening. But I'll ask Melvin, maybe next meeting, if you can have someone from MWRD who might be more familiar with this project.
With the master plan?
No, not the master plan. What they're doing is the city of Chicago put money aside, like Ms. Barajas says, for designing of a trunk line all the way to MWRD for themselves on the west side, not just keep hitting Laramie Avenue, Central Avenue, 54th. It sounds like they're designing their own trunk line now.
Okay.
So I'm assuming Cicero's involved as well, because
They never came to us with
County, Metropolitan Water Reclamation.
They never came to us with
This is something
anything.
that they're working on, the city of Chicago.
Yeah, no,
So
they-
are you saying it's gonna bypass Cicero?
That's the way we're hearing it, but no one's come to talk to us at all.
So that's Metropolitan Water.
Not with them, not with the city of Chicago, nobody.
Well, I think right now it's really planning. It's a concept design.
Yeah, we've very little, we've just seen that it's happening, and it was something we were kind of excited for, if they really could do that, and I know it's a long project down the line, but if that does happen, that'll be wonderful.
I just don't understand how it'll bypass Cicero.
It would probably,
Into the tunnel.
they would have to go through Cicero to get
Right,
to
and
it.
that's why I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Others should be concerned as well. Because
Concerned about the aggravation with the traffic, the construction, et cetera. Positive, if they take all their stormwater combined and stormwater out of our system that travels to the sanitary district, that would be a positive.
Right.
If
Well,
it-
I'm just trying to find out how Cicero, how this will impact Cicero. So you're saying it'll be less?
We
So
should
there
have
has to
less,
be some way that, I don't, seems just strange how it would bypass Cicero. Because I know there was a bill that representative was working on, Hernandez, to work on in regards to creating that, what is it, west side tunnel or something like that.
or,
That didn't go anywhere, but she was trying to pass a bill,
well, because
which would create another, actually entity, and then it would be, that we would probably have to pay more, because I don't understand how there would be two wastewater facilities.
well, because this is a localized issue, and because we're sharing all our systems for Berwyn, Oak Park, Chicago to get to the sanitary district, and they're utilizing our system also to get to it, we were looking at trying to, from what I understood, they were gonna put a stormwater district aside, which would have been a separate entity, to make everybody come to the table. Because as of right now, if our system fails on the middle of Cermak Road, and it's in the middle of Cicero, what's gonna make Chicago say, okay, we're gonna help you pay to fix it? It's gonna be on all our taxpayers' dimes in the town of Cicero. And we're trying to come up with we were trying to come up with a plan and a stormwater board to say, hey, you gotta put some skin in this game to upgrade the system. If we start upgrading our system and it's helping everybody else and it's starting to hinder our residents, if we do a big project on the north end, we're allowing more water from Chicago to get in. It's really still not helping us. Now they have more water in our system. So that was the whole thing about that where the bill, I don't think it went through.
Right.
But that was something we were looking at trying to do to make everybody come to the table and talk with us. Like I said at a few other meetings, the best thing that could happen for our system is if it collapsed on the north end of Roosevelt Road, that leaves our end open. And then Chicago has to fix it. But with our luck, the way it goes, stuff always happens here.
So who would you suggest that we talk to as community members, because the town of Cicero is saying you all don't know. Metropolitan Water Reclamation
We're
should know
asking-
in regards also.
Well, we're asking for some of their engineers, if Melvin can possibly bring them to our next meeting, because this, to us, we just found out about this a couple weeks ago. I heard about this might be happening.
Right, well, the city of Chicago did it, I saw it in December 2026 budget.
Yeah, I seen it a couple weeks go about it, but I don't know the extent, how far they are, if they are gonna just design it, and how long it's gonna take to get to where it's actually going. No one told us we wanna use Laramie, we wanna use 49th Avenue. No one's talked to us about any of it.
So your suggestion would be to wait to MWRD?
Well, I'm waiting to talk, we're gonna talk with MWRD. Hopefully he can be at our meeting next month and bring a little bit of, brief information that they received from us.
Yeah, again, I think right now it's really just concepts of them trying to figure out ways to alleviate their stormwater.
And that would be a
We're
March
trying
3rd
to
meeting.
figure out ways.
We're gonna continue with this purpose.
So maybe the best thing would probably be to request FOIA to get information. Who does know?
Yeah.
City of Chicago, Metropolitan Water Reclamation should know what happened.
Oh, I hope they do.
Yes, so probably the best thing is to.
Usually Melvin comes and he gets our information and he forwards it forward to his engineers and that, and they always come to our meetings when we have big questions like that.
And maybe this is something you can bring up, Lito, because you're part of the same advisory board that I am with the sticky plant.
Yes.
So you can ask those folks as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Oh,
Based
who
on
was
this
that?
conversation. Just the group itself. I don't have a response yet, otherwise I would provide it.
From Metropolitan Water Reclamation?
Yeah,
Oh, good meet you.
we're on the same group too. We're in the
Oh, the med-
community,
with the
sticky
advisory?
CDC.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I can reach
Yeah,
out to
when I
you.
read that, I was like shocked. I said, what is going on? Why don't we know? Why don't the community members know about this? And then we just had that storm again, that flooding in
Oh, here.
January.
I have some information from
Okay.
Joseph Kratzer. The district is partnering with the city of Chicago to provide underground storage at 2 locations on the west side of the city. There is no impact on Cicero from these projects. The city has other similar projects planned, but we are not currently partnering with them on those or other Chicago-led, so city of Chicago-led sewer improvements. So it could be that this is only city of Chicago.
So to clarify,
The underground.
underground storage will be within the boundaries of the city of Chicago, will not be crossing municipality lines between Cicero and Chicago. Sounds like the underground storage is on the Chicago.
It seems that way. I don't want to speak on behalf of law.
Yeah, and I'm saying, who is that that you spoke to?
Joseph Kratzer
Oh, the guy from here.
from MWRD.
Now, I know they put some wing storage and stuff too, and I thought MWRD was helping Chicago a little bit with that. I could be wrong though,
That's probably the underground storage.
yeah, that's a different entity, so we don't know all of it, but they are planning wing storage, which is in the major intersections. It's in an intersection and they put storage to the east or west or north or south where there's no sewer lines, and they put underground storage so the water can get into there to save less, and then slowly drains back.
So basically, your engineer is saying that it's not gonna impact Cicero.
The underground storage. The underground storage. But there are other projects that are city-led that are not MWRD.
City-led by meaning City of
City of
Chicago?
Chicago.
Okay, hopefully we can talk.
I will say that even if a city-run project like designing trunk storage, if it comes time for construction, MWRD would have to be at least a part of the conversation, because those lines are gonna end up going to your guys' plan. The lines are gonna have to run underneath Cicero, so
Well, yeah.
I mean, I guess, in my mind, these are conceptual plans that the city is, actively trying to pursue. All of us will have to eventually talk. There's no way around it.
The Metropolitan Water Commission has that NPDES application permit out as well.
I'm not sure of that.
Yeah, the National NP Pollutant Discharge Effluent.
Oh, and then?
And yeah, NPDES. So that application is out as well, so, that, I'm sure it's good since 5 years,
as a private resident, I went to the open house that MWR had back in August. After the, it's a Saturday afternoon, I believe. And I picked up a couple saplings. At that time, I saw another member of the board there enjoying the availability of the open house. I brought 2 saplings home, planted them, and within 30 days, both of them were broken off. So residents in the neighborhood, maybe they didn't like trees in their
Trees aren't
growing.
important. Our tree canopy is horrible.
I know.
But we need it.
It's
And
our
for the stormwater, green infrastructure. I know that's part of the plan, CDBG, is that right? Yeah, planting trees here. And we got a grant to plant trees here.
We have the grant, but we also, the last year, we gave out, the last 2 years, we've been giving out a lot of saplings here at the town for our town residents to come. Yes, and we're gonna be teaming up with them again this spring when the saplings are ready, and we're gonna be getting a couple hundred more again to give out to all the residents who come in and they pay their water bills, and we have the table right there where residents, even if they're not paying their bills, who are just in the building, can grab them and take them. They come out on Wednesday mornings.
Well, like I said, we have a grant and some there's civic engagement besides you all. I appreciate you all being here, but if we have this grant, we have the trees ready just to plant, so
You have a
support that
grant-
civic engagement is important to get.
You have a grant
members
for,
involved.
excuse me, you have a grant for planting trees?
Yes. We've said that for,
Did you give any addresses or anything in, or?
we have those, we are waiting for some of the logistics here.
Okay.
But yeah, we're ready to plant those trees, and it's an important part of the CDBG, $96 million, is to have civic engagement. So, we're ready to roll. We have names, and we have those trees with Openlands. And Openlands is a very, reliable, place to plant trees. They do it all the time with community members. I believe some of your folks even went to get some kind of training with Openlands as well.
I know Openlands is. They're partners with Morton East too, correct?
They are, yeah. We collaborate with them throughout a number of different municipalities, including Cicero. We've been trying to arrange things. We're trying to make sure that there's no double dipping between the grants. Similar to Openlands, we also at the Arboretum, we have our stewardship team that does plantings as well. And our stewardship team has been active in the past with, as you know, the town of Cicero and, or rather, the Morton Freshman Center. And just trying to, I know that they're interested also in performing planting in the town of Cicero. I think the goal right now for like grant reporting purposes is to make sure that there's not going to be any overlap between the work that I do on the community team at the Chicago Region Trees Initiative at the Arboretum and our stewardship team or Openlands, trying to make sure that there's not going to be any overlap so we don't get any double dipping, so we don't get any federal audits coming down and then they try and claw back money. So that's that's our goal right now, but that's the administrative goal. The substantive goal is to get these trees in the ground as soon as possible because, as we know from the presentations that me and others have provided, we get the most benefit from trees that are mature trees. And it's not even close, it's night and day.
And I'll ask again, I know we were discussing this in a meeting a couple of months back. I know right now the weather's just starting to break, but if there's something we can put together from you that we can put out, if it has to be translated in Spanish, if you don't do that, we'll have it done at the water department because we probably have a minimum of, I would say, 5 to 6 people come a week at the water department wanting their trees all cut down, and we deny them it. But we always try to tell them it's better to have the tree than not to have the tree. But just something, a coming from an outside agency might do us a little bit better than just keep hearing it. They think we just don't wanna do the work and get it done, and we're trying to say, no, the trees are positive.
And with that, yes, I am working on that still. I apologize about
No,
that.
no, that's fine.
The thing that we've heard elsewhere, and I'd be very interested to hear, like, you know, those people that are coming in every week, what their specific complaints are, but what we've heard in other jurisdictions is tree roots and sewer lines. Is that the primary?
That's the primary complaint. And
Does the town have like a list of vendors who offer like sewer cleaning, like sewer maintenance solutions?
We try to help families that have water backed up into their basement by routing them out for single families and 2 flats first, and then it takes a while to get to the other ones. We only have such a crew to get it done because we're also doing everything else, but we always use a root cutter in there to try to pull out or extract the roots. We recommend to put from Elgor, and there's other places that's serves some sulfates that you can put in there to eat up the roots in your sewer line.
Yeah.
But basically it all comes down to the roots in the sewer.
Okay, that's the primary concern.
Yeah, that is the
concern, yeah.
Not worrying about cleaning the leaves or nothing like that,
Or anything like that.
or a branch. Their worry is it's backing up their sewer system.
Yeah.
And from your presentation with Tom, I don't know if you were there, and, or not, at the library, was that last year, we had a.
Yeah, it was like October.
October, in regard to the
That was
trees.
June, yeah, when we had the June.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You've had a number of community meetings.
Too many, I guess.
So I remember, I think it was you or Matthew who mentioned that, because that same issue came out with people that were present at that meeting, in regards to the roots going into the sewer lines, but what I believe you said, or your response was either you or Matthew, I can't remember who, said that the trees usually look where the water is. So there might be, lines that are broken because our sewers are so outdated and so old and so small. The water can't hold this capacity.
Well,
But our actually sewers are, they're so small.
Well, we're not even talking about public sewers, we're more talking about private sewer systems where it is all the same size and they all were clay tile from when the houses were built, and really, you don't see people, it's rare that we hear of a resident come in and want a permit to redo their system and put in a plastic now. And no one ever asks for that kind of permit. They don't think about that part of the sewer system, that it is privately owned. And what happens is when they put those clay tiles, they're 2 feet wide, 2 feet long. Back in the day, they used to whip a little concrete on it and then go to the next one when they build the houses and whip a little more concrete on that one and keep going. And by now, some of these houses are well over 100 years old.
They are.
The concrete's gone. So there is no concrete holding.
Or shifts.
Yeah, with the shifting and everything, nothing's holding the individual system together anymore.
And we'll get more water, what we're doing, we're all experiencing climate crisis, so we're gonna get more and more water. So if we don't do something on our part here at the town of Cicero, we're gonna continue flooding, and what is our community gonna look like? Inundated all with water. So I think it's important that independent folks should be part of, we wanna work with the advisory board, instead of not knowing until we're like trying to do our research and coming back to you all, going to county, going to Metropolitan Water Reclamation. I think it's really important that you all invite other independent folks that live here for years. I've been here over 30 years. And I have actually asked to be part of this advisory board, but I understand it seems like it's only for plaintiff or something, President Dominic.
So we respect your comments and thank you.
Well, let's continue to have these conversations. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Just had another update from MWRD, so the underground storage is completely within the city limits of Chicago.
Okay. Thank you.
Have
having this discussion, I have a question. What is the boundary of Cicero between Chicago and Cicero? Is that the railroad tracks?
Cicero's Roosevelt Road, the south side of Roosevelt Road.
The east side.
Oh, the east side is the railroad tracks on 40, just off of 46.
Does the railroad have just enough land for the tracks, or do they have in spots more land? Do we know?
I don't walk by those tracks often, but like doing my job, I've been there, and the way it kind of runs off, there's not, I don't know what you mean by a lot of land.
Well, it's elevated tracks.
Yes.
And so there's gotta be enough slope and land to support.
Yeah, there is.
But I was wondering if this track put in maybe 100 years ago, maybe they had some acreage, or they had several city lots or something alongside that elevated area.
Unfortunately, like I know from the Roosevelt Road all the way down to like 21st, virtually, if the street isn't there, everything is owned by private entities all the way up to the tracks.
Okay.
And then even on the shopping malls, then as you're continuing on, they're right up to the private property line of the tracks.
Just as it was when
Western Electric was there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the same, the same thing.
Thank you.
No problem. Do you have any questions or anything? Okay.
Real quick, Rita, if I can just
Yes.
kind of follow up on that request for information about routes from Reunión.
Yes.
Someone kind of with expertise in that area. What Delia said is correct. The routes, they don't cause the cracks, but like we've all been discussing, it is something that the infrastructure, a lot of the time private infrastructure that is owned by the homeowners themselves, under the current law, the way that, the underground property line extends a little bit further out than it does on the street side. And that question, so the solution a lot of the time would come from making a recommendation that the private homeowner would need to replace their sewer line or repair their sewer line. And that can be fairly expensive. So I'm wondering if that's something that we can put our heads together in terms of future communications with the Stormwater Advisory Board and with residents to see if there's a way to present that information in a way that doesn't scare people off from, there's one option to replace the line, or there's the other option to cut down this tree that's providing benefits to the resident and to the rest of the community. So trying to balance those, that communication can be a little bit difficult. So I'm wondering if we can, in future meetings, kind of come together about how to present that information in a way that's going to be best received by the residents.
I know in a perfect world, the residents would say, "Oh, perfect, yeah, we'll do it," but we know we're in our residents in this community don't have a lot of extra money to be investing in something like putting a whole new water system, a sewer system into their home. So, in a perfect world, most of our census tracts wouldn't be very low income, but unfortunately, our census tracts are basically, everyone is very low income. And they wouldn't have the extra money, I believe, to come up with a plan to start replacing it, but if there's some way we can come up.
How much is it to reline? I know there's companies out there that can shoot like an epoxy of some sort in to coat the inside.
I've heard of it. I never actually sat down and talked to a company to do a house service.
That would be something that I can do some of that research and maybe call around and see if we can get some prices on that, because I think, when it gets down to it, it's really difficult to, make the claim that, roots don't cause the leaks, or or, roots aren't causing the cracks, but roots find their way into the sewer lines because they're following the cracks that already exist. They're following that water. It's hard to make that claim and then just stop there and not lead to its logical conclusion that you need some repair of the sewer line. You need something that's going to create a longer-term barrier to protect against the roots seeking out that cracked sewer line. So yeah, I'll check into, do some research, call around, and see if I can get some of those prices, because I think that would be very useful if we can start talking about like specific numbers. Doing a repair like that versus doing a complete replacement, which can be very expensive. Cicero's been doing a great job at seeking out funding where it's available. Maybe that would be something given the economic conditions faced by Cicero residents, faced by a lot of people throughout the country. I think that getting some funding long-term for doing these sorts of things where it's not just on the residents themselves, because if you're going to put it on the residents themselves, a lot of the time they're just going to keep putting pressure on municipal entities to cut down our critical infrastructure like trees.
Thank you.
I'm actually, as a resident of Cicero, living here since 1989, and I've seen a lot of changes, and I'm going to piggyback on that comment. We can't point fingers at government right away. We have to be accountable too as a homeowner. The repairs must be done. And when I moved here in the town, I recall having the population was much lesser. Now, increased population also causes problems, and especially accountability of not taking care of your sewer, your property, and also having the proper backup and sewer insurance. Even with renters, it's always very. I always recommend that everybody should have that, and it's very minimum cost, but everybody worries about it when something happens. And as a resident, I do believe that accountability should be split, not only government, also individuals. And by saying that, just have maintenance, maybe build up something with the, because we had that check valve for like ever, that the town will split the cost, and there's been a good volume of individuals getting it, but not a lot of people acquiring it. And that's okay, yeah, the monetary system, it's also could be the problem, but I also see as a homeowner, if you want to avoid problems, there's a thing called HELOC. You can borrow a little amount of money and fix the problem, because if you, in the long run, it will salvage you from having nightmares and headaches, and maybe even be out of your property. When there's a will, there's a way. When you want solutions in life, and as a resident and homeowner, I believe that there should be accountability. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get going now on the permeable LE program. We did some LEs last year. I know we're doing, the town received an additional $500,000. We have $1.5 million in DCEO grants, and we also are DCEO grants for green LE paving. The project is scheduled for construction in 2026, including 7 more LEs. Tom, we'll have Tom talk after we go through this. The town has been awarded MWRD Green Infrastructure Partnership, approximately $475,000 for construction of 3 permeable LEs. I know briefly we went over last meeting about how MWRD has come up with another way of kind of looking into doing green LEs, and that's something we're taking in consideration also. We're still waiting. We were told to finish up the Kolar Park Stormwater Detention Facility, to finish designing it. We're pretty darn close to doing that, and we're gonna keep our fingers crossed to hope to see if we can get lucky with that grant for that stormwater project. If we get lucky enough, that would be great, because that will free up more money from the grant to be able to do more projects. We also submitted 5 project applications back in September of '24. for $57 million in grant funds, for stormwater management. I know last month, or 2 months ago, FEMA still hasn't, gave any of the money out. The town, was awarded the $96 million for disaster relief. I know Tom has been working very hard. He's had some bidding out there so we can get closer to starting the projects. He'll fill us in a couple minutes about that. The draft of the stormwater master plan has been completed. I don't know if they send it out quite yet. Marty sent it out to MWRD, but I was gonna talk to him and Tim today anyway to find out if they actually scheduled it yet.
For the master plan?
Yeah, I know it's completed and the draft is complete. He was supposed to send it out to MWRD. So-
From MWRD, that MWRD met last Friday with ERA. The consulting company doing the master plan for Cicero. From that meeting, we were informed that the plan is moving along and will be completed soon. They noted that they will be recommending moving forward with the Kolar Park project and recommending work on Morton East High School also. The master plan will add work at Morton East in addition to some regional infrastructure work that MWRD wants to do there. And there's a follow-up meeting with ERA once the report is finalized. We hope to have a final report from our reviews.
Yeah, I know Morton East, they received that grant, and I know we're gonna try to see if there's some way we can piggyback to add even more stormwater, over there at Morton East. So we're waiting for the answers about doing something there also, if they'll let us piggyback with them, because I know they were gonna do some pickleball courts and stuff. They stopped all construction, waiting for this project to get going, so then that's what their main concern is right now. And that was a nice grant, thank you.
Marty, was there an assessment?
Melvin?
Was there an assessment done in the top of Cicero in regards to why the Kolar Park was chosen as a place where there should be some construction done to alleviate some of the flooding issues? Because I know it's usually been on the north end of Cicero where the flooding all the time. I mean, the 2023 flood, I know even the power lines went down. And I remember the Kolar Park, and there were some other buildings that MWRD, Cicero, and that was like $5 billion just for that area.
I don't have the dollar amount.
Yeah, I have it.
Regarding Kolar Park, I think it's what to bring to next month's meeting.
Okay, right, I'm
We
just
have
wondering.
2 engineers present, so,
Yeah, I was just wondering, how did you all choose that area?
yeah.
And that was always my question. Was there an assessment done with you all and the town of Cicero to say that's the needed area to work on instead of all of Cicero, the north end of Cicero?
Do you have that information here, or I can escalate it to our MWRD engineers?
I don't have the information. I know that was a project that was being batted back and forth many years ago. It kind of died down, and now it kind of resurrected.
Okay.
But that project would be separate than the other projects we're gonna be doing across the whole town with the $96 million. That's a separate project completely. Phase 1 is, we still have a little bit of money left in that bidding, so they've been continuing with the stormwater, with the filming and the cleaning of all the major sewers. They finished from Roosevelt Road to Cermak, and then we had some money left over on that they didn't go through all of it on the bidding, and we started from Lombard, from Cermak to 26th, and we've been working our way east now. So once that we finalize with that, we're looking at bidding out the rest of the middle part of town and working our way south with the cleaning of all our main sewers and the videoing of all the sewer systems. The town backflow preventer installation program is still continued. That's about all on the agenda. Tom, do you wanna do a little something about what's going on with the grant?
2 board meetings ago, the town board approved 3 different contracts for the disaster recovery program. One for administrative staff support for my department, one to design and manage the housing program, which is the check valve installations, and the third is the design engineering services for the underground stormwater management, the permeable alleys, and the sewer upgrades. Currently, those agreements are in final stages with our town legal department to hammer out all the final finite details. My plan, my goal is to hopefully have the check valve program get advertised and start accepting applications sometime late spring, early summer. I don't think any disaster recovery alleys will take place this year. My assumption is we'll design a bunch of alleys, get them out to bid, and then start the construction seasons in fiscal year 27, having a spring construction season and a fall construction season. We'll have to sit down to go over the master plan to finalize the locations where the sewers are documented as being undersized and adding to the flooding that people realize there. I do want to, when we get into construction of those, where we're doing the sewers, to try to incorporate tree plantings along those streets that are getting reconstructed. I've said before, and I'll say it again, it's going to be a very busy 6 years here in the town of Cicero.
And to jump out with the water portion, we bid out a new water main and eliminating lead lines from Roosevelt Road to 16th Street on 48th Court, and we're starting in that north end. We're putting in brand new, upgrading the water main to a bigger size for pressure wise, and we're doing all lead line replacement from the street to the houses on that whole corridor from Roosevelt to 16th Street this year. So we're going to be continuing the projects yearly, more and more. So it's going to be between the sewers, the alleys, and then we're going to be doing more projects with lead line replacement and water main upgrades. It's going to be very busy. And while we're doing that, we're going to be naturally looking at the sewers. And I think this year, 59th Avenue from 16th to Roosevelt is another road that we're hoping to get done this year. And if not, we're going to get the sewer done this year there because it's undersized and it's very, very shallow. And we're going to get that sewer redone this year. And we're hoping, if construction goes good, to jump on the water main and all the lead lines from Roosevelt to 16th on 59th Avenue. If we can't get to the lead lines in that, we will be doing that in the spring of next year and just doing the sewer line from Roosevelt to 16th on 59th this year. So we do have those projects. It's a lot of those projects, a couple of them I mentioned are water projects that are starting this year. It's not sewer, but 59th will be sewer first and water last. Okay. Any other comments from board members?
MWRD has to, do they have to?
He asked about MWRD, about open house.
Oh, yeah, we have rescheduled this season.
The reason why I ask, it'll be wise that the community knows about it so they can go there and understand how the whole system works.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to questions, they don't know left to right. And because I've been there, and it's more understanding how the whole process works, and when they show the lines and the tunnels, that it's all basically Cicero at a heavy rain becomes a retention pond because all the water's coming in. And it's something that you can't stop. But it's a whole community. It's not only Cicero, it's a surrounding. So if there's the open house, if that can be shared to the public, that'll be really good, because then the public public can go, whoever has a question about it, they can go there and say, you know what, I wanna see how this works. I wanna see how, you know, so basically they have a better understanding.
Yeah, we'll post that on our social media, so be on the lookout.
And when we see it, we'll piggyback off, and I'll tell our media department, hopefully they'll be able to, we'll have them forward it also.
Yeah, and we can bring the flyers here to leave in the lobby, but we have planned at 3 of our plants already.
That'll be-
So those be
Sometime in the last 90 days or so, my name ended up on a list. And it seems like almost monthly, they've got an open house of some kind. Now, I don't know that it's a tour or it's just a presentation in one of the, buildings, but it seems to be quite frequent, so that almost anybody, anytime, if they get their name on the list, they'll get notified of the intended time and date. So that might be the first step in getting it out, so the people are knowing on a regular basis,
Oh, yeah,
they can
yeah.
go and learn about it.
Definitely. 'Cause if we don't know about it, we're gonna ask questions, and if we don't search for the questions, we're gonna be driving blind, and that's not good.
Yeah, that's the virtual tour that you're mentioning. That's a monthly online live tour where you can ask questions of the presenter in the live chat along with the discussions being presented. Then also on our website, we have a basically self-guided virtual tour. It's a recording that you can watch. You can't generate questions on it, but that's certainly one stepping stone. Maybe seeing that before the live or whichever comes first, joining the live tour, the monthly live tour.
I think a live tour will be good because it shows the entire setup and how, I guess the osmosis, I'm not an engineer, I don't understand the way the process works.
Yeah, very thorough.
Yes.
Our next virtual tour is next week, Tuesday, February 10th at 2 p.m. And you can look for that online at MWRD.org. And on our social media. If you go to our social media and you look at the historical photos that we post, the black and white photos, almost always that has the information for the virtual tour.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Does the town, when somebody buys a home, is there any interaction between the town and the salesperson that made the sale on the house?
I wouldn't know how that works out. I know when the person buys the house, the person selling the house has to get an inspection. It goes through building department. But I mean, it's not like an in-depth inspection where they start filming. They don't put cameras in sewer lines or none of that. It's up to the home buyer who's buying the house to actually hire an inspector to do the more in detailed inspection.
I was just thinking from a marketing standpoint, if we could call it that, if there was something, if there's a packet that they get from the town for welcome to Cicero, whatever it might be, maybe a sheet in there about these virtual tours, so that if nothing else, it registers in their mind that it's available. And two, if something comes up with a new owner looking at something he has to repair or improve on the house, he might just take a look and become a little more educated and a little more aware of what might be a need for a house that's over 100 years old.
I know when the finals come in, when someone's buying the house, I know in our department, we're dealing with the seller, not the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
All we get is a name that we can put into the new, maybe there's a way we would have to come up with something where we could even try to mail something out. I know the town, with the water department, we're in the middle of upgrading our computer system, which will make it much more updated. I mean, we have a very old system. We still use that green paper and everything, and we're in this new system we're going to be upgrading within the next month. It should be coming through. the first part of it is residents can actually go onto our website, see their bills, see more. Maybe there's some, we're gonna be getting rid of the postcard bill, we're gonna be giving a regular 8x10 bill, so there's gonna be room where we can add stuff or put stuff. You know, maybe I gotta talk with the computer department to see how much I can actually add, how much room is gonna be there. Maybe we could put something when residents get billed, they get their bill, there could be something for them to see.
Sure, I mean, even if it was every other month that there was a little paragraph on that new bill, or there's not a marketing department in the town of Cicero, but some area that kind of coordinates developing information and getting it disseminated to the public, that the water department could send something to them so that on a periodic basis, they're getting that out to the residents or to the new homeowners.
Okay, with the new system though, we're hoping to be able to do a lot more than what we've been able to do.
Correct.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Second, all in favor? Okay, our next meeting will be March 3rd, 2026, here in the courtroom at 10 a.m. And thank you everyone for coming, and thank you for the comments and questions.
Can I share one more thing? Sorry.
Yes,
Our next open house at Stickney here in Cicero is May 16th, which is a Saturday,
hopefully it don't rain.
10 a.m. Oh, let's pray for good weather.
May 16th?
May
at
16th.
Stickney?
At Stickney, yeah. We have two other open houses, but that's the
What time?
10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
10 a.m. to 3.
Yes.
Saturday, May 16th at Stickney. Look online and you can find information. We'll have that on our social media also. That is, no registration is required for that, and you can arrive and sign up when you arrive for the ceremony.
Thank you.